I was reading over here in Job chapter 8, and you have to. And what's happening in Job chapter 8, it's Bildad, the Shuhite, is answering Job from chapter 7. Of course, that's an ongoing thing throughout over to later in the book. But to understand the end of this chapter 8, you got to see the depths of where Job was brought to. And you read the first 3 or 4 verses. As a servant, now look, he's comparing himself as a servant, earnestly desireth the shadow, as an hireling, looketh for the reward of his work. So am I made to possess months of vanity, and wearisome nights appointed unto me. When I lay down, I say, when shall I rise, and night be gone? When will this be over? And I am full of tossings to and fro unto the dawning of the day. My flesh is clothed with worms and clods of dust. My skin is broken and become loathsome. And he continues in that vein of thought, showing the depths of where the Lord had the Lord had brought him. Now Bildad in chapter 8, he's going to answer Job. And he starts off, How long, Job, wilt thou speak these things? And how long shall the words of thy mouth be like a strong wind, a blustering wind, vanity? They're empty. Wow, how long are you going to speak like this, Job? He said months, is what Job said. And we go to verse 3. Doth God pervert judgment? Or doth the Almighty pervert justice? Is God ever in error? That's what he's saying in verse 3. God's never in error. He's never wrong. That's what that's how Bildad is answering Job. Then here comes an accusation. If thy children have sinned against him, and he hath cast them away for their transgressions, if thou wouldest. Now that's the accusation. So maybe it wasn't you, Job. Maybe it was your children. And here's how you fix it, Job. If thou wouldest seek unto God and make thy supplications to the Almighty, that's all you have to do, is do that right there. If you just seek God and make thy supplications to the Almighty, if thou wert pure and upright. Now, Job, if you're pure and you're righteous, if you're upright and you're righteous and you're not lying about these transgressions, then then if you are there at that place, then look what he says. Surely now he would awake for thee. And so what does that mean? He's going to listen to your prayers. He's going to hear you if you are pure and upright. And then, and this is verse 6, and what will he do? And make the habitation of thy righteousness prosperous. That statement right there goes right back to the foundation of what Satan, back here in the first chapter, verse 9 and 10, this right here is the accusation that Satan is making both against God and man. Doth Job fear God for nothing, for naught? Hast not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? He has obeyed your law, your commandment, and because he has obeyed you, you have blessed him. And what is Bildad saying? If thou wert pure and upright, Job, if you would have obeyed, if you would obey him, surely now he would awake for thee. He would hear your prayer. He would not be ignoring you. He would hear your prayer. And then, because you are pure and you are obeying him again, and the end of verse 6, and make the habitation of thy righteousness prosperous. Had a dear brother text me, but I forget how it was worded. I think it was something to the effect of God, the Lord can't do it all, and He needs help. With that right there is just about exactly what's being said right here. That's awful close. So then in verse 7, that's conditional time salvation back here in verses 9 and 10, and that is the accusation against God and man. And this being the first book, that is the first accusation that is laid at the feet. And that is, and then here Bildad is saying the exact same thing to Job. If thou were pure and upright, if you hadn't sinned, or even your children hadn't sinned, surely now he would awake. He would wake up to your prayers. He would listen to your prayers and make the habitation of thy righteousness prosperous. Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end should greatly increase. And how many times have you heard, plant that seed of faith, that small seed of faith, and God will bless you. He will bless that little bit of seed of faith, and He'll double it. He will double it, and He will triple it, and the blessings will overflow. Exact same thing that Bildad back here. Though thy beginning was small, yet the latter end blessings, they will be great if you will just obey Him and do this right here. And then He will wake up to your prayer. Verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age. Now this former age right here, how long have I been going too long? I ain't going to make it through this. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age. Now the former age. What's he telling, Job? Of the former age. Well, you were blessed prior to this. So look back before you sinned, and look how good you had it. When you were obeying him in the former age, you had all of these blessings. But then something happened, you sinned, and now he's punishing you because you are no longer pure and upright. And then he said, and prepare thyself to search of their fathers. Looking to what? Peter tells you, getting away from the traditions of the fathers. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days are upon earth are a shadow. Yes, that's true. Our days are but a vapor. But what he's saying, you must know this. You've lived it. You've seen it prior to the sin that you most certainly must have done to deserve this. Then they go in, where was I at? Verse 11. Can the rush, and that's a plant, can the rush grow without mire, without dirt? Can the flag grow without water? When you pull a plant up out of the ground, well, what happens? Or you don't give it no water. It dies. So what is he comparing to? Excuse me. Well, what is the comparison there? God has abandoned you. He has abandoned you. He has completely withdrawn from you, as you would pull a plant up out of the ground, and it dies because of what you have done. And that's what that comparison means right there. Whilst it is yet in its greenness, and not cut down, it withereth before any other herb. So, and here in verse 13, this is looking back to what he just said. So are the paths of all that forget God, and the hypocrite's hope, it shall perish. So he's calling him a hypocrite. He's telling him that you have forgot God, and you are getting your just rewards, for you no longer obey him, and your hope is going to perish. That's what he said there in verse 13. Whose hope, it shall be cut off. He's saying it should be cut off. Because you have forgot God. And you're a hypocrite, whose hope shall be cut off, and whose trust shall be of a spider's web. It's as nothing. You're caught up in your own web. That just came to me. You get caught up, your hope, your trust gets caught up in the own web that you have spun. I'll be dadgone. Just now saying that. All right. verse 15. He shall lean upon his house, but it shall not stand. Why? Why? Because his hope and his trust is gone. And his house, it has no foundation. It's sand. That's what Bildad is telling Job. He shall hold it fast, but it shall not endure. Because, Job, you have forgot God. You are no longer pure and upright, and he is not awake to you. He isn't listening to your prayer. His roots are wrapped about the heap, and seeth the place of stones. That plant that is pulled out of the ground. It's going to die. All it sees is the stones. There's no nourishment for a plant in the stones, Job. If he destroy him from his place, then it shall deny him, saying, I have seen thee. Now in verse 19. Behold, this is the joy of his way. This is the joy of one who forgets God. This is the joy, all the joy that you're going to have, Job. Your punishment is death. That's your punishment. And God's punishing you. He has forsaken you. You are no longer obedient to him. You are not obeying him. And this is the joy of his way. That's what Bildad is telling Job. And out of the earth shall others grow. Now, what did he mean by that? Well, God will just replace him. God's just going to replace you, Job. Others will grow up out of that earth. He'll bring others forth. I'm telling you. You go to John 10. Now, let's go to Matthew 1:21. He shall save his people from their sins. He knows every one of them people, and he knows them by name. That means something. I was talking to somebody on the phone the other night. And I was like, 10 years ago, if we would have passed each other on the sidewalk, it would have just been somebody passing. But today, because I know them, and I know them by name, I wouldn't have passed them on the sidewalk. I wouldn't have passed them. I'd have said, hi, hey, how are you? Why? Because I know them by name. And that's how our Lord and Bildad is and Bildad is saying, well, he'll just bring another one in. Absolutely not. For they are his sheep. And he knows every single one of them, and he knows them by name, for they were chosen in him, and they were given to him by the Father from before the foundation of this world. That is his seed. And he will not forsake them. He will not abandon them. He said, I will never leave thee, and I will not forsake thee. Bildad is wrong right here. There will not others shall be brought forth to replace. Absolutely not. For behold, now here's Bildad. Behold, now here's the accusation again. And it's going right back to chapter 1, verse 9 and 10. Conditional time salvation. If you do this, God will bless you. Our God needs no help in saving his people from their sins. He needs no help. Behold, God will not cast away a perfect man. Do you see that? the first thing that we are shown, I fully believe, is the 100% total depravity, the total inability that we are shown that is in ourselves. That little publican in the back that wouldn't even raise his head, and he said, "Be merciful to me, a sinner." That's all he could say. But Bildad is saying, God will not cast away a perfect man, neither will he help the evildoers. What is he saying right there, Job? You're an evildoer, and he ain't gonna help you. He ain't gonna wake up to your prayer. That's what Bildad, that's the accusation, and it's still the accusation today. God ain't gonna help an evildoer. Till he fill thy mouth with laughing and thy lips with rejoicing. Here's what God does for the perfect. He tells them it's all flowers, and it's all joy, and it's all peace. Their life is going to be nothing but that right there. You go back and that right there is where I wanted, and that's why I wanted to point out the depths of where Job was. So I am made to possess months of vanity, and wearisome nights are appointed to me. When I lie down, he said, when I lie down, I say, when shall I rise, and the night be gone? And I am full of tossings to and fro unto the dawning of the day. My flesh is clothed with worms and clods of dust. My skin is broken and become loathsome. Our Lord is the only one that can pull you up out of that miry clay. He is the only one. But look at Job. Look at what Bildad is saying. He would fill your mouth with joy and lips, that they that hate thee, and those that hate thee shall be clothed with shame. You're clothed with shame, Job. That's how he's clothing you right now. So you have sinned. You are no longer obeying him. You're clothed with shame. And the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to nothing. You have come to nothing, Job, because of you have sinned. You are no longer obeying God. And that is pointing right back to the first accusation, right back here in chapter 1, verse 9 and 10. Obey, and he will bless you. Obey, and he will bless you. And if you don't, just like Bildad said, and he'll just grow others. He'll cast you aside, and he'll bring in another one. My Lord, he said, I have lost none. And he lost none. Every one of his seed was with him. Every single one of them. And he did not lose one. I'm sorry I went so long. Thank you.